Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much to all four of you for being here with us today. It's a big honor to be speaking with you, especially about a topic that's so relevant. We've just heard wonderful insights from Mr. Sachin Sabnis on the same topic. Today's topic for our panel discussion focuses on quality as a competitive advantage and how quality is a pivot, or rather a lever, for us to be able to elevate Indian manufacturing to global standards. Just a quick outline, we are looking at perhaps some of the perspectives that my distinguished panel would share today really pivot around how India needs to make the shift from a credible, cost-effective alternative in the supply chain to a world leader in terms of quality and innovation across the globe. And as we've heard insights already, it's not about cost, it's more about innovation. Let's get this started by asking Mr. Dayanand Netalkar first. How do you define quality in today's manufacturing landscape, and how do you see that definition having evolved over the years?
Namaskar. As Sachin has spoken so much about quality, I think he has covered more or less everything. Even then, quality is basically a culture today. It has to run through your DNA, and it's so simple. You give quality, you make your customer satisfied. It's not only satisfaction, today it is a customer delight. Your quality has to delight your customer, and that is how you be in the business.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Mr. Vinayak? What are your thoughts?
To keep it short,
Yes.
quality, instead of inspection, it has to be an intention.
Right. Absolutely. I think very well said.
And second is, it should not be restricted only to the product and the entire supply chain or the entire processes.
Correct.
Then we can talk about quality in real sense.
Right. Where have you seen some of the biggest challenges though? Because it's easier said than done. Perhaps one dimension is product quality, but when you're actually talking about processes that go into manufacturing with MSMEs, some of them, as you very rightly said, are often audited at the time of inspection, but perhaps it's not so much a culture to be able to do this without the checks and balances sometime. Any thoughts on that perspective?
See, basically, MSME undergoes a lot of challenges as far as we have seen ourselves growing.
Yes.
Of the delivery pressures. We take orders,
Yes.
Committing some delivery,
Right.
and then if we want to stick to the delivery, we have end up compromising to meet the delivery deadline.
Right.
So I have seen this happening not only in MSME, even in larger companies.
Yes.
I am not against anybody,
Yes.
but I have seen this happening in the biggest automobile company in India, where the dimensions were wrong and the person was told, you fit the part inside, anyway it's inside the vehicle, nobody will see.
I understand.
So it's not MSME.
Yeah.
So it's the mindset of everybody, of a production manager, of having a delivery pressure.
Right.
That creates compromises on the quality. Second is, we don't set standards right first up. So if we do that, we have a mindset where we see when we are exporting, the quality is different. One of my competitor came to my factory and asked, is it for an exhibition?
Right.
I said, no, that's our routine product. So it's a mindset that if I'm making something for an exhibition, it has a little better polish. If I'm exporting it, it has a little better painting.
Sure.
So why should we have two different standards of quality?
Correct.
If we set that right in the first up, then I think even the people working are confident of what they do.
Sure.
In my factory, if you ask, my worker is allowed to reject. I don't have an inspector on the shop floor.
Okay. Okay. So a lot of empowerment at the shop floor is what you're saying. Any other processes that you feel have really helped process quality at your organization that you'd like to share as a case study with everyone?
Process quality per se is, yes, any process you take right from our documentation to the production, we have to have a quality check. I'm a passionate follower of business excellence, so there is no end to whatever quality improvement we can bring about. It's always possible that there is a better chance to do. I was in Japan and I'm a fan follower of Toyota or any Japanese fundamental for that matter. So when I was in Japan, they asked us one common question. You go and ask your sweeper, can you do your job a little better? And what do you think the answer will be? It has to be yes. They may put conditions, okay, give me machine, give me equipment, give me something, but even a sweeper can do their job better. And that culture, if we bring in, everybody can do a job better.
Get better always, continuously. Great, that's wonderful. And it's wonderful that you mentioned Japan, because that almost brings us to our next question. That while Japan, as you rightly said, leads with a culture of continuous learning and quality elevation, Germany is well known for precision systems across the world. South Korea is catching up pretty quickly in terms of their scale in electronics. What are some of the key areas that are preventing Indian manufacturers from being perceived as global quality leaders? Mr. Mahesh, would you like to take that?
Yeah, your question is very relevant regarding exports also.
Yes.
The main challenge is what I see the MSMEs face is first culture, as Sachin said. And if you see over the years, the quality requirements have also gone very stringent. So we need to adapt to those requirements as well. Probably we also need to put a lot of efforts in innovating our processes, seeing the reliability of the processes are more in place. It all starts with culture, I agree with both the panelists as well as Sachin gave a good insight on the whole quality concept as such. So the challenges still remain that the reliability factor is more discouraging Indian suppliers to be a global quality suppliers per se. So we have been doing a lot of exports. We started our exports to Germany. Yeah. But initially we started focusing on we shouldn't send a wrong part. So we started with 200% inspection. As Sachin rightly mentioned, we do that. We tend to do that. But over the years, when we started to realize it won't help much and we are adding too much cost in it, then we started correcting our processes. So we built a robust process where the rejections could be controlled at the manufacturing stage itself. So there was no post-mortem kind of a thing, which helped us, save our costs, which helped us build more reliable processes. So we put a lot of efforts in designing the processes first. Then once we are sure, then we took some trial runs. Then when we are really sure, then we put it on green code.
Sure.
Should I intervene a bit?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. So when we were talking about the Japanese, see, quality always is looked at as, okay, I need to reduce the extent of quality inspection.
True.
It's not so. When I was reading or studying the success of Shinkansen, how it works 24/7, 365 days, the critical components of the train are inspected 5 times by 5 people so that they will not fail. So process is reliable, process is set, but that component, if it fails, the train will stop. So critical components of the train are inspected 5 times and other components are standardized. So quality has to be looked into that criticality of failure also, where it can fail and create a problem for the customer. So we need to judiciously maybe put up our quality plans accordingly.
Right. So you're saying process adherence and inspections at critical junctures to ensure that you're on track. Mr. Mutaraj, any thoughts that you would like to add, especially in terms of exporting globally, any quality process that you've adopted that have been helpful?
Yeah, in being into aerospace from last 26 years, for us the quality is more of safety and the performance of the product. So basically, I mean, when industrialization starts, we need to focus on the input study. We need to have a robust plan. So what we do, I mean, when anything customer gives the inputs, we start getting to the execution. So that's the biggest drawback I can say, because we don't study the inputs thoroughly. We don't go back to the customer and ask, even though it is a minor, very minute doubt if you have, you should go back and ask, because whatever the product we do, it goes on the aircraft. So there is no shortcut to land. And second thing is, when you see the history of aviation accidents, now drastically reduced because of the technology. And when it comes to accidents that happened, it's more of human causes. So we need to focus on the human factors and more on not on the technology, because technology we have we are developed very well, but we are not focusing on the human factors.
Just to add to what he said, since he touched upon seeking inputs from the customer, the challenge for MSMEs or appeal to MSMEs is now we need to be standing guarantee for our own products. Because I will give you a very small example which can tell you what I am trying to say. One customer came to me, my factory, saying, I want a 4-inch valve. We manufacture industrial valves. And for whatever reasons, I did not have it ex stock. And he said, it is so urgent. If you don't have a 4-inch, give me 2-inch ka do. Now, unfortunately, we have to deal with such customers now. So, customer education also is a part of our quality building. Otherwise, the product will fail and the entire blame game starts.
Absolutely. No, correct. In the value chain for sure. All right. I think while we've had a lot of insights from the panel in terms of quality processes, inspections, etc., how do you see MSMEs balancing a challenging tightrope walk between cost and timelines? How are they basically, or how did some of you strike the right balance in terms of how did you manage cost of production, cost of innovation, cost of maintaining quality, and ensuring that timelines are met? Anyone would like to share?
Hey, go ahead.
Quality and timeline, basically, as a customer, it has to go hand in hand, because you cannot lack, quality cannot be maintained and you require certain time. So that basically is it's not possible now. So basically maintaining quality and all, rather it's you have to be prepared. Your designs have to be in place on time, and your commitment should be according to what you have with you. I think we have to meet the timelines anyway. Quality has no chance to give up.
Okay, what we do at our factory, I can talk about, is a lot of exposure given to all the people. See, normally in MSMEs, what happens is if there is an exhibition, if there is an event, the owners go. Owners come and tell this is what is happening in the globe. The people just say, okay, you have seen it may be happening. We don't know.
Yeah.
So what we have done is, last 2 years, we have been sending all our people to the trainings or exhibitions or whatever it is. When they see, they can't come back and tell me, no, it is not possible.
Yeah.
So they have to do it.
Sure.
And once they accept it, it's not very difficult. But we need to invest in that. We need to believe in our people. As far as Belgaum is concerned, I know there is a mindset कि उसको train किया भाग गया तो क्या करेंगे? But train नहीं किया और रह गया तो क्या करेंगे?
Yeah, that's a worst problem, a worst challenge.
Yeah, so we need to empower people, and if we empower them, I am sure everybody. Belgaum has got a lot of skills, particularly they can do a wonderful job.
Sure, wonderful. Yes.
One of the important part to answer your question is consistent training of the workforce, be it quality, be it other sectors also. So training in MSMEs, what I see is more of a IATF or ISO 9000 requirement, which normally they do it just couple of days before the audit. They just cook up the data, and training has to be done consistently, continuously. Even though if a person is trained, evaluate him, see his skill gaps and retrain, so that consistent training will at one point make him somewhat close to perfection, and that delivers quality, I guess. So training is one of the important aspects.
Sure. Yes.
As you said, training plays an important role. Like when we hire somebody from with a lateral entry, like he has got some 3 to 4 years of experience, we feel like he knows everything. That's the biggest mistake what we do, because he might be working for some other sectors like automotive, but when he comes to aerospace, so we have our own requirements. So the first and foremost thing is training need identifications. We need to understand his competency or the skill level for our requirements, the aerospace requirements. If his lack of knowledge in any of the competencies or skill, those areas need to be focused and trained. And as he said, refresher trainings are mandatory.
Sure.
If you don't train, usually what happens, when we make a work instruction or any procedures, we train the people and we put the work instruction in one corner of the shop floor, and it will be full of dust after 6 or 7 months. It clearly indicates that people have not gone through it. So refresher trainings are very important. So it has to be done on a regular practice.
Sure. No, that's absolutely critical. A quick pivot to the Deming Award from Japan is probably a benchmark for most organizations, right? And you have several manufacturing organizations aspiring to be Deming certified across industries. Very few from India have been certified. So that's more of a certification for your TQM excellence. So a quick question and some examples from your rich expertise. How do you build a TQM culture in your organizations, and how do you all look at awards and certifications like the Deming Award? Are you seeing it more as a certification of adhering to general TQM excellence, or are you seeing it as a one-off certification? It's evident that a lot of companies do a last-minute scramble to be able to win the award, but those are not actual process installations over a period of time. Any questions, any thoughts, any aspirations in terms of looking at Deming? How much does it actually count today in terms of actual compliance?
Any award we should contest in true spirit, because it's our human mindset. When there is an exam, we start preparing.
Yeah.
So from that angle, it should be done. Second is, any award doesn't come that easy.
Yes.
If somebody wants to start today and within 1 year you get an award, it doesn't happen.
Sure.
It takes minimum 3 to 5 years.
Sure.
And we should be ready step by step. Cultural change, if the why part is told to people, they will understand. इसमें मुझे क्या मिलेगा ये अगर किसी को पता नहीं है, if that attitude is there, nobody will do anything. But our own company recently got certified for the basic TPM award, and then the zero effect defect gold certification award.
Sure.
I can tell you with confidence, the assessor told me that he was sent to our company from Pune to find a mistake.
Wonderful.
Because he was, what I would say, known in the industry to find NCs, non-conformities.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, he said, I couldn't find one.
Wonderful.
Now, unless you approach that award with that confidence,
Yes.
it's very, very
Yes, it's not
risky.
in spirit.
And people have put a lot of thought process behind any model, whether it is Deming, Malcolm Baldrige, EFQM.
Yes.
So we can take always inputs. There are SMB based models, small and medium business models.
Correct.
So no harm in trying those.
Sure.
And it need not be always pressurized from the customer that if you are not certified, now people are doing Z because customer is saying if you are not Z certified, you are not our vendor.
Yeah.
So people are going for Z certification. So why not voluntarily do it?
Sure. Okay. All right. Yes.
Getting an award means Deming Award or TQM just for the sake of award doesn't make any sense. Basically, it should be a culture. That culture. Then you really don't require a Deming Award or TQM. The culture itself will make the quality. So what we now speak is, any company comes to you saying that we want people, those who have Deming Award or TQM or anything like that. But then, that costs you a lot. Okay, over a period of time, that cost may not be making much of a difference. But in actual, initially it costs you too much. So for MSMEs, what I feel is, instead of going for a Deming Award or TQM or anything where you need to pay a lot, you need to have the intention, the culture of making quality product, and probably that will take you much longer.
Okay. Understood. Okay.
Both of you have aptly put the real requirements of award. It is definitely not just a paper hung on our board, of course, but a lot of efforts needs to be done. The concept should flow from top down, I say.
Yeah.
The owner of the enterprise should be convinced that this system will bring in benefit if not in short term, but in the long term. So that conviction and commitment should come from the top to bottom. Then only it will happen, I guess.
Yes. Mr. Mutharaj, I have a question for you, especially since your organization works in the aerospace and defense industry. While we've spoken a lot about skill development and training once employees are with our organization, what are your thoughts about the quality of engineering talent or technical, innovative engineering talent right up front at the top of the incoming pipeline, the talent pipeline to each of your organizations? Any comparable thought? What do you feel is the actual quality of talent coming in to your organizations available? How would you compare it with overseas organization talent as well? Any thoughts there?
Okay, when it comes to aerospace, I'm into forging actually. I look after the forging business. So I'm a quality assurance general manager. So we go for a NADCAP certification. That's a requirement for process qualification.
Sure.
So we are NADCAP qualified for heat treatment. We are NADCAP qualified for forging process. So in terms of when you take forging as a process, we are the second in India.
Sure.
So because the process itself is like that, like the people who are working on the shop floor, they are not highly educated. The forgers, they are basically either SSLC or ITI max.
Education.
So it's too difficult for them to understand the language, the English, the work instruction. So, but this was a very big challenge for us. But we went for the qualification, and we are successful in getting the certification. So what we did is we qualified the people, not the product. We started looking at the process. So we will qualify the person with their practical exams. So we monitor their activities. And we also do a written exam once in 3 years. And periodically, every 6 months, we do a practical exam. So that what he does, we just keep as an observer, we just look at it. And we have questionnaires. People from quality engineering validate the operators. So we are more focusing on the skill and competency of the person, how much he knows. And if there is anything, lagging, he's lagging in any of the areas.
Yeah.
If he scores less there, immediately he will be trained on that area, because there is no time to leave it, and later on we can take up that, because any escape due to that lack of knowledge can lead to a defective part, and it can go into the aircraft. Because we don't do a 100% inspection, again we go for a sampling. We only inspect the critical parameters, the critical characteristics, not all the dimensions.
Sure.
So it's always going to be a challenge.
Sure. A wonderful insights. Anything that you all would like to share?
2 points. One is there is a definite disconnect between the academia and industry. We have been talking about it on all the forums. Somehow the gap is not getting bridged. In the MSME context, probably we don't get the top ones at all. After they graduate, they go out to Bangalore or Mumbai or wherever it is. So we have to struggle with whatever people are available in Belgaum. We have no choice than to train them and get them ready.
Yeah, it's all over India actually. It's not just Belgaum. No, I understand. Okay, you did speak a little bit earlier about the Z certification that customers are asking for, zero defect requirements. You also have CBAM coming in on the sustainability front, which is bringing in a lot of value emission control across the value chain. Any thoughts about how you're seeing the entire quality dimension evolving from what it is currently, basis the certifications that are being more driven from the customer's compliance end or from the customer's requirements for overseas compliance?
See, basically we need to, especially for Z, there is a lot of incentive from the government, which needs to be understood and then properly utilized.
Yes.
Your name comes on the MSME website as Z certified, and when the global partner tries to source from India or partner with India, maybe they will take cognizance of this in the first place.
Sure.
When the process starts, you are required to analyze your own self, find out the gaps and then bridge them. Again, when you were talking about cost, how we, what I would say, have already cost imbibed in our system. That happens only when a visitor comes. When the Japanese came to my factory, we started showing him in the factory. Usually, I'm sure everybody starts the process with inward inspection. And he asked me, what is this? Why you want it?
Sure.
Why do you need to inspect components supplied by your supplier? Do you need to? I said yes. He said, why do you select such a supplier? Now at my factory we have taken it as a target. Next 2 years we are going to the inward inspection.
Okay.
5 people, 700, 800 square.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Wonderful. Yeah, absolutely. That's huge. Any insights from you on the CBAM value chain?
Sustainability
Yeah.
has been, I guess, the buzzword now in the European region
Yeah.
or the Americas.
Yeah.
Because on a lighter note, they did all the dirty work earlier. Now they don't want to, and they want us to do that dirty work.
Right.
And now they are pulling us towards that sustainability point. Yes, we recently visited a European customer, and there the emphasis on CBAM was quite strong, and that is one of the key point for them to send inquiries also to us. But most of the sustainability part comes from the raw material, which is steel in our case. So the steel supplier has to put a lot of efforts in sustainability practices, where we add a small value. So our value addition, even if we are 100% compliant to sustainability, it doesn't make a net effect on the end product. So there the challenges still remain. So the whole culture, the Indian culture should be towards that concept, I guess.
But does take quite a lot of doing across the value chain at this point.
Yes.
Okay.
Whatever was our culture becomes a standard when it goes abroad.
It's a nice way of putting
The
it.
17 SDG goals
Yes.
is what our culture, Indian system has been talking about.
That's
now
true.
they have put it as a standard and we start following it as a standard.
No, I understand. That's true. Someone needs to frame it. It's about who framed it first. We're going to ask the audience for any questions for our wonderful panel. Any questions from the audience on any of the topics we have discussed before we ask our panel members their final questions? You can raise your hand and we'll have the mic sent over to you.
Quality has become very serious.
Okay, if there are no questions, then I'm going to ask my illustrious panel team members to basically describe and ask them for a single word which you would like Indian manufacturing to be associated with for the next 5 to 10 years, quality related. A single word that you would like Indian manufacturing to be associated with in the next 5 to 10 years.
Commitment to self.
Commitment to self, okay?
First, I guess the mindset. Dr. Sachin earlier mentioned in his keynote address, the first mindset has to be there.
Yes.
That yes, I will do it. And of course, no deviations. So if there is a will, there is a way. This saying has been through ages.
Right.
So if the mindset is there, then we can surely do it. So
Okay.
mindset is one thing which I think is important.
Okay, so we're saying we need a mindset change. Mutraj?
Yeah, what I say is instead of talking about quality of product or a quality of the service, it is quality of work is more important.
Okay, so we have quality of work and
It's again dedication.
dedication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I just want to speak something different.
Yes, please.
I was just going through something in the morning. A lady from somewhere in Baramati, and she's a farmer now. And she was speaking about quality to a great extent. She's a farmer.
Wonderful.
And she started this farming business in COVID times. Just COVID, about 6-7 years back. She is only making organic vegetables, organic, from tomatoes, broccoli and everything. And she started this business in COVID times, investing 2 lakhs, and today her business is almost about 2 crores per year. And she has done everything to this extent only because of she could maintain the quality what she has anticipated. And the demand is such that people pay her in advance and then the material goes as a Rolex watch goes. So this is the beauty, even in farming we are at this stage today. Thank you.
Just share for the benefit of my colleagues.
Yes, please.
What I have experienced again in our setup is probably our people do not know where is the end product functioning.
Right.
I make
That's
a product,
true.
for example, we make a valve.
Yeah.
But where does the valve fit and what happens if it fails?
Right.
That is not exposed to the down the line people.
Right.
If that exposure is known,
Yeah.
what are we ultimately accountable for?
Yeah.
It's not just the delivery to X customer in Pune. He is supplying as an equipment to somewhere else,
Correct.
and that equipment is going into some national project. So if I fail to supply my one small equipment, it is going to hamper so much of economic.
Right.
It happened with ethanol, for example.
Yes.
We have supplied all the valves to ethanol plants in India in the last 5 years.
Sure.
So when I said we are adding to country's economy by a little pie, all our workers said, don't worry. Quality is ensured, delivery is ensured. I don't have to tell them wait extra and do. So they say you bring projects, we will do.
All right. No, that's very important. I think you're making an important point.
Yesterday we had an incidence of a boiler blast in one of the factory and some 13-14 people died. Now some quality somewhere has failed. Now if that connection is built to our working people, you are doing this machining or an assembly is fine, but if it fails, what is going to be an impact overall?
Yeah.
That accountability has to be there in the system.
Correct. I think it's easier. A lot of people take the easy route of just looking at where their commitment or where their focus really ends and not look at the entire value chain. All right, wonderful insights, and we are going to wrap up the panel now. If anyone has any last questions for the last time? Okay, no questions, and I think our panel members have shared tons of insights with us. Oh, yes.
As you are wrapping up the panel discussion, I don't have a question, but as Dayanand said about a farmer from Baramati, I also knew a farmer from Baramati
Right.
who made 200 crores in a 10 guntas of land. Ranger. Just on a lighter note.
आणि तो शाश्वत बिझनेस आहे. You understand मला?
Yeah.
Okay. No, you are from Goa. Okay. No, in fact, what I feel is everybody has to think on this. आम्ही किती जरी क्रँकशाफ्ट बनवले, ह्याने वॉल बनवले आणि काहीतरी बनवले ना, लास्टेला शाश्वत बिझनेस हा फार्मिंगच आहे. आणि त्या बाईचं म्हणणं असं होतं की 15 वर्षे पुढचे त्याच्यानंतर ह्या फार्मिंगला इतका डिमांड येईल की तुम्ही इंडस्ट्रियलायझेशन विसरून जाल, असं तिचं म्हणणं होतं. आणि ते माझ्या मते मला पण वाटतं की ते फॅक्टच आहे. कारण बाकीचं एवढं सगळं काम AI म्हणत जाणार ना, आणि एक दिवस सगळी लोक कंटाळणार आणि अल्टिमेटली फार्मिंगलाच येणार.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for being a part of the panel. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Mr. Mahesh Inamdar and his brilliant team. A leader is as good as its team. Mr. Mahesh Inamdar, Mr. Prashant Patil, Mr. Vineet Harkuni, Mr. Baswaraj Rampure to honor our esteemed speakers. Can we have everybody on stage? Can we have Baswaraj Rampure ji, Prashant Patil? They are tired because they were managing the audience since 5 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, they must have went out for a short break. We'll wait